I was wondering what the constitutional basis for this piece of legislation is. What the constitutional provisions
well, it's under the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, which justifies a whole host of things that the federal government does. These things were not particularly anticipated when the Constitution was written, but I've had some people pursue that point, and I said, if you were right, that unconstitutional for us to provide medical care, then we would have to repeal Medicare, and I think that would be a huge problem. So the court has ruled numerous times, both conservative and liberal courts, on the constitutionality of the issue regarding medical insurance. So. What I think I find is that some people think they're going to ask a question and then don't. But okay, 477, 467, and 646. Shout out, raise your hand. There's someone over there, right there, holding a cup up. Woman in the middle of that row, Frank. The other two numbers, anybody? So we can get these questions moving quicker. There's someone right in the middle with their hand up. Okay. Okay, go right ahead.
I just wondered, Bill McGuire, the CEO of the insurance company that Art had, made almost $2 billion. And when you think that Art was designed to help elderly people, isn't there a way that they can put a cap on the CEOs of the insurance company's wages so that that money can be lowered for the premiums for everybody? Because they don't need that. How much money does one person need to live?
Private companies that are not taking taxpayer bailouts are free to pay what they will. They are responsible to their board of directors, their stockholders, and we're trying to improve board of directors, stockholders' rights, because right now the way it works in most corporations is if the stockholders vote to limit a CEO's salary, if they manage to get an initiative on the annual ballot, even if they win a majority, it's not binding. We're trying to reform some of the corporate governance. He hadn't heard about that individual, but another fellow who was the head of United Healthcare, the largest health insurance provider, he was found to have done a little deal on his stock options, insider trading. He had to pay back $600 million and pay a $7 million fine, so you think he might be hurting, but he still had $800 million of stock options that he took when he left the company. There are some problems there, but again, we need to reform some of the corporate governance. We can't begin regulating the salaries of private institutions. So, yes?
I saw on your website that you are for the Seneca wood-burning site in Eugene.
No, but go ahead.
Oh. Never mind.
I think there's a little confusion between a public policy and an individual issue. Right now, federal law says that a private company can get tax benefits for biomass. It says on federal land you can't get tax benefits for biomass. I want to improve the health of the federal forest. We can't afford to do the fuel reduction and the thinning that's needed. And what we do, the first prescription under the so-called stimulus bill for fuel reduction in my district was down in southern Oregon. And what they're going to do is, and they have done, is they've gone in there and thinned that forest, which is sorely needed, and they put the stuff in giant slash piles and they'll burn it next winter in a very dirty way. I would prefer to remove that biomass out of the federal forest, get a cheaper price to have the work done because someone's getting some value out of it, and burn it in a contained environment with scrubbers. I'm not choosing any place to do this, and that's what I want to do with the federal lands. Private companies can already do it, and the process is being handled through LRAPA. They've extended the comment period, so I encourage anybody who's concerned to get involved. So there's over there, yes.
Representative DeFazio, my name is Ron Jansen. I am very concerned about H.R. 236. If I've got my numbers right, that is Senior Citizen Protection Act citizens, our Social Security, our different things that we have now in effect. And we stand a chance, as I understand, losing this. But this Protection Act, I don't know too much about, other than it's got a name and a number, and I took the information I had to your office. Phyllis has it.
All right. Well,
And that was my question.
okay. Like I say, it's been about 4,000 bills introduced. I'm not familiar with that one, but let me give a couple of assurances here. Under this bill, actually, some people have seen numbers. The Congressional Budget Office, which is a pretty hard-headed bunch of people who've scored the bill to be pretty expensive, has actually said the bill will save not from reducing benefits, but save from the current overpayments that are going to private insurers under Medicare Advantage. It'll save on a number of other reforms in the bill quite a bit of money for Medicare, and actually Medicare benefits are going to be improved. We're going to get a higher reimbursement rate for Medicare in Oregon, which will give you better access to physicians. We're going to require that all of the private and public plans provide annual physicals, mammography, wellness, those sorts of things to try and prevent disease from progressing. Those will be added to Medicare as well as the other private and public plans. So, Medicare actually is not threatened by this legislation, although there's a lot of concern about that. Social Security is not at issue here. I'm an expert in Social Security, have been a long time. Social Security in 2039, if we can honor the trust fund in Social Security, which is questionable given the levels of debt we're running up, but if we can honor the trust funds in Social Security and repay the debt, the money we borrowed from them, Social Security can pay 100% of benefits until 2039, and after 2039, they can pay somewhere around 75, 78%. So it's got a problem starting in 30 years that needs to be addressed. The easiest way to address it is say, you lift the cap on Social Security wages, and you would pay Social Security tax on all your wages, and that would fix the problem. Right now, after